many of you have had a polling card through your door yet? Have you? I think they're starting to arrive. And the other day, I heard a radio advert which really intrigued me. And it started off with the sound of a pencil twice scratching on a piece of paper. I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. And then I realised it was an advert encouraging people to vote in the local elections. And the slogan was, "This cross matters." And of course it does. That cross does matter, because whatever you do with it, whoever you vote for, that cross is a sign of our freedom, isn't it? We're really aware at the moment there are plenty of people around the world who don't have the freedom to make those 2 pencil marks on that piece of paper. This cross matters. And of course today we're thinking about a different sort of cross. And isn't it interesting, on this morning when the clocks have changed, and we've all made it, and as Ian said, you know, we can feel pretty smug about that, I think. And some of us have left people in bed. Some of us? Yeah. Some of us were up quite late last night celebrating the resurrection. Some of us might have been up very early this morning. Did anybody go to a dawn service? You were saving yourselves. So, the resurrection has sort of happened. It's happening at different times, isn't it? For different people. And in our gospel reading, that's also what we've heard. So there's Mary who's completely bewildered. She's got no idea, has she? And she's really upset. And then there's the 2 friends who kind of look and half get it, don't really quite get it. It's not very neat, is it? It's quite messy. Different people realise at different times. And this cross matters, but actually for the people who were following Jesus, this cross was a sign of failure. It was really a matter for despair, because this cross meant, they thought, that everything that Jesus stood for, all that love, all that grace, all that not fighting back against power with might, all of those things that they'd noticed in his life, well, they've all just been defeated, haven't they? Because he's been put to death. The powerful ones, the regime, they've won. So some of them just fled. Some of them just scattered because they were afraid. Of course, we've got Peter, who denied 3 times that he knew him because he was afraid. And then we've got Mary, who is just grief-stricken. And she's there and her eyes are blurred with tears. And she has no idea what's happened until Jesus calls her by name. She thinks he's the gardener, but he calls her by name. And then she knows. And she recognizes this extraordinary thing, that this cross matters because this cross is empty. This cross matters because this cross is empty. And I wonder how many of us not only see the resurrection in different ways, at different times, at different speeds. We get it kind of dimly sometimes and more clearly at other times. And I wonder how many of us see the resurrection through our tears, like Mary did. I wonder how many of us have those blurred eyes, and then we hear him calling us by name. Because this cross matters, because the resurrection is now. It's now, whether you're still asleep, or whether you were up late last night or at a dawn service this morning, or those of us here now, it's always now. Because the resurrection is the light that comes out of the darkness, because this cross matters and this cross is empty. It changes our lives every day because it is the power of God to take all the messiness of being human all of those things about us that only see dimly, that only half get it. All those things about us that we'd rather not look at. All those things in the world that are full of violence and chaos and inhumanity. Jesus, on this cross that matters, Jesus takes all of these things right into the heart of God because he fronts up to death. He goes to his death in obedience to his Father, and his Father raises him so that he comes through the gates of death and out again into new life. So that's why this cross matters, and that's why we celebrate the light today.